Mill hated me for years, and at her birthday, I overheard her talking about me, so I confronted her and found out my own mother told her I baby trapped my husband by getting pregnant. Hi, everyone. I'm Bridget, 35F, and I've been married to my husband, Archie, 30cm, for almost 10 years. Our love story began in a cozy coffee house where Archie, being his charming self, gathered the courage to ask me out. The rest is history. Archie has always had a way with words, which might explain how he won me over. I work as a graphic designer, creating vibrant and engaging visuals. Our dating life was simple but sweet, filled with laughter, late night talks, and movie nights on the couch. Our wedding wasn't quite the fairy tale we might have imagined. After dating for a while, I found out I was pregnant, and suddenly we were faced with the reality of impending parenthood. We hadn't planned on getting married just yet, but life had other plans. We decided to get married quickly, planning a small whirlwind ceremony with our loved ones. Despite the rush, it felt right to exchange vows surrounded by family and friends. Everyone was supportive, and both our families blended seamlessly, which was a huge relief. Instantly, it felt like we'd known each other for years, swapping stories and sharing laughs like old friends. But buckle up, because here comes the plot twist. After I gave birth to our daughter, things with my mother-in-law, Ada, 65F, started to get chilly. At first, I attributed it to postpartum hormones, but as time went on, her frosty demeanor didn't thaw. It was as if I had become invisible to her. Whenever we were together, she barely acknowledged me, let alone engaged in meaningful conversation. I'd try to strike up a chat, but it felt like talking to a brick wall. It wasn't just the silent treatment that bothered me. Ada seemed to make me feel like I was always walking on eggshells. Every move I made was met with disapproval or criticism. For instance, she'd nitpick my cooking. I'd spend hours preparing a meal, only for her to list complaints. Too salty, too bland, too spicy, you name it. Her comments about my parenting were equally frustrating. She had an opinion on everything, from how I dressed the baby to how I handled bedtime routines. Nothing I did seemed good enough. The most infuriating part was her constant comparisons to Archie's ex-girlfriends. She seemed to have a highlight reel of his past relationships and wasn't shy about reminding me how they were supposedly better at this or that. I'd smile and nod, trying to brush off her comments, but inside it felt like a punch to the gut. Here I was, doing my best to be a loving wife and mother. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that I was always falling short in her eyes. And don't get me started on the passive-aggressive gifts she'd give me on special occasions, like the cookbook filled with recipes for dishes I couldn't stand, or the parenting book that felt more like a critique of my mothering than a helpful guide. It got to the point where I dreaded family gatherings, knowing I'd have to endure her icy glares and backhanded compliments. Despite it all, I refused to let her negativity affect my self-esteem. I knew I was a good wife and mother, flaws and all. While her approval would have been nice, I didn't need it to validate my worth. I focused on what truly mattered, my family, my happiness, and the love that Archie and I shared, shotgun wedding and all. Things worsened when I became pregnant with our second child. Picture this, I'm pregnant. Archie and I are deep in relationship problems, and Ada's chilly attitude is still going strong. Archie and I had our fair share of disagreements, typical stuff that comes up when two people try to navigate life together. It felt like we were speaking different languages at times. I'd try to express my feelings, and he'd clam up, leading to a game of emotional charades. We both carried scars from past relationships, and those wounds would flare up when we least expected it. It's hard to let your guard down when you've been hurt before, but therapy helped us start mending those broken pieces. Between work, household chores, and the chaos of everyday life, Archie and I felt like ships passing in the night. We had become experts at coexisting, but somewhere along the way, we'd forgotten how to truly connect, and with a kid and another on the way, we were also under significant financial stress. While money might not buy happiness, it certainly can cause a lot of headaches. We argued about budgets, splurges, and long-term goals until we were both blue in the face. Enter therapy, our saving grace amidst the chaos. Week by week, we'd sit down with our therapist to unpack the baggage we'd been carrying. They helped us learn new communication strategies, rebuild trust, carve out quality time, and tackle our financial woes head on. Over time, our financial situation improved as Archie switched jobs and received a substantial pay raise. But dealing with our relationship struggles, a pregnancy, and Ada's cold shoulder created a recipe for emotional overload. Every snide remark and passive aggressive gesture felt like salt in the wound. I'd be lying if I said it didn't take a toll on me. There were days when I felt like I was drowning in negativity, struggling to keep my head above water, with the pressure feeling 10 times heavier with another baby on the way. Even after our second baby was born, Ada continued her cold treatment. She'd interact warmly with Archie and the kids, but would give me the cold shoulder. I hoped that adding a new member to the family might soften her, but she remained as icy as ever. It was like a broken record, her nitpicking every little thing I did, from how I dressed the kids to how I folded the laundry. Nothing escaped her eagle eye. Balancing the demands of two little ones while enduring her constant criticism was exhausting. Archie and I were doing our best to navigate the wild ride of parenthood with two kids. It was a whirlwind of diapers, late night feedings, and endless rounds of peekaboo, but amidst the chaos, we found moments of joy in watching our kids grow and learn. Their laughter filled our home with warmth. However, Ada seemed to have a knack for finding fault in everything I did, even with raising the kids. Take the time she dropped by unannounced and caught me feeding my daughter store-bought snacks. You'd think I'd committed a cardinal sin the way she went on about the importance of homemade meals. Or when she critiqued my choice of daycare for our eldest, insisting I should have done more research and visited more facilities. Never mind that I had spent weeks scouring the internet and touring centers to find the best fit for our family. Her unsolicited advice on discipline was equally grating. Every tantrum, every time out, she had an opinion on how I should handle it, as if she knew better than me, the person who spent every day with the kids. Despite her constant interference, Archie and I were determined not to let her negativity affect our family dynamic. We leaned on each other for support, strengthening our love and commitment. And you know what? It made us stronger and more resilient in the face of adversity. Everything took a surprising turn at Ada's 65th birthday bash last weekend. Picture this, we were all dressed up heading to the party to celebrate this milestone, and I had put a lot of thought into her gift. Picking out a present for someone who's been less than warm isn't exactly easy, but I figured that maybe, just maybe, this could be the olive branch we needed to thaw the icy vibes between us. After much deliberation, I settled on I chose a stunning pair of diamond earrings for Ada, similar to a set she had years ago, but unfortunately misplaced. I thought it would be a thoughtful gesture evoking happier times and showing her that I cared. So we arrived at the party with the gift in hand, ready to put on a brave face and make a good impression. Initially, everything seemed to be going well. People were laughing, chatting, and enjoying themselves. I handed over the carefully chosen present with a smile, hoping it would serve as the olive branch we needed to mend fences. For a brief moment, it seemed like she might actually like it, but just as quickly as the moment appeared, it vanished. Her expression remained as inscrutable as ever, leaving me wondering if I had missed the mark once again. The rest of the party went off without a hitch, cake, candles, and the whole 9 yards, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, like a cloud casting a shadow over an otherwise sunny day. I felt a growing sense of doubt about my attempts to bridge the gap between us. Then, just when I thought things were going smoothly, I overheard Ada talking to my sister-in-law. She accused me of showing off and implied that my gift of the diamond earrings was nothing more than a flashy attempt to win her favor. Her words felt like a knife to the heart. It was as if my sincere gesture had been twisted into something ugly and malicious. It felt like a slap in the face, as if no matter what I did, it would never be good enough for her. You can imagine the whirlwind of emotions I felt when I confronted her. In the kitchen, my heart pounded, my palms were sweaty, and I was a nervous wreck. But I couldn't let her words slide. I needed to know if she really thought I was trying to show off. Was that how she saw me after all this time? Hearing her words echo in my mind felt like a dagger to the heart. Her response didn't ease my troubled mind at all. She brushed it off, saying that giving her diamond earrings wasn't the smartest move given our financial situation, as if that somehow made it better. I wasn't about to let her off the hook so easily. I pressed her, asking if she genuinely believed I had ulterior motives behind the gift. Did she think I was trying to buy her affection with flashy gestures? She acted surprised, claiming she didn't understand what I meant by trying to win her over. Things went from bad to worse during that kitchen confrontation. I mustered the courage to lay it all out. Her constant coldness had been eating away at me. But instead of a heartfelt apology or understanding, I was hit with a bombshell accusation. She claimed I had trapped her son, Archie. Trapped him? I was floored. Last I checked, it takes two to tango, and Archie was just as involved in our whirlwind romance as I was. I demanded answers, desperate to understand the twisted tale she seemed to be spinning. Ada insisted she knew the truth because my mother, Jane, E63F, had told her long ago. I had no idea what she meant, so I pressed for more details. According to Ada, my mom had apparently spilled some secret about our shotgun wedding. Ada accused me of baby trapping Archie into marrying me by getting pregnant, not just once, but twice. She claimed I had purposely gotten pregnant again during a rough patch in our relationship to ensure he wouldn't leave me. I was floored. It felt like a punch to the gut to hear such outrageous accusations from someone I thought I could trust. How could my own mother feed into such hurtful lies, and why would Ada believe them? Despite the disbelief swirling inside me, I knew I had to set the record straight. I squared my shoulders, looked Ada straight in the eye, and told her unequivocally that she was dead wrong. I explained that I never manipulated or coerced Archie into marrying me. In fact, I never even brought up the topic of marriage after my first pregnancy. It was Archie who decided to propose, not me. As for the claim that I got pregnant again during a rough patch to keep him with me, that was a cruel fabrication. Yes, Archie and I had our ups and downs, but I never resorted to manipulative tactics to keep him. Feeling the anger bubble up inside me, I insisted that if Ada wanted the truth, she should ask her own son. I called Archie into the kitchen and told him everything. When he heard what Ada had been told, he reassured her, explaining that I never pressured him into marriage, that it was his decision all along, and he had made up his mind to propose long before my first pregnancy. It was a relief to have him back me up with the truth. As for Ada's reaction, let's just say Ada had to eat humble pie. She realized her mistake, owned up to her misjudgment, and offered a heartfelt apology for all those years of being cold and standoffish toward me. Even as she apologized, a knot formed in the pit of my stomach. It felt good to have her finally acknowledge her wrongs, but the damage had been done. Years of frostiness and hostility, all because of a lie spun by my own mother. I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal, knowing that someone I should have been able to trust had been spreading hurtful lies about me behind my back. It was like a stab in the heart, realizing that the woman who brought me into this world could betray me so callously. Even as Ada apologized and Archie reassured me, I couldn't shake the lingering unease. How could I move past this? How could I trust my own mother again, knowing she was the source of so much pain and heartache? I decided I needed to see my mother immediately. I sent Archie and the kids off, hopped into a cab, and made a beeline for my mother's place, which was an hour away. As I sat in the back seat, the tension was palpable. My mind raced, thoughts swirling in a chaotic whirlwind. How could my own mother betray me like this? What had I done to deserve such betrayal? With each passing mile, my anxiety grew, gnawing at me like a ravenous beast. I needed answers, and I needed them now. I braced myself for the confrontation ahead, steeling my resolve as we approached my mother's doorstep. When I finally arrived, I wasted no time. I barged through the front door, my heart pounding in my chest, and confronted my mother head on. I laid it all out on the table, recounting Ada's accusations and demanding to know I needed to know the truth. At first, my mom tried to deny it, brushing off my concerns with a dismissive wave. But when I pressed her, refusing to back down, the truth came tumbling out like a dam bursting under the weight of years of deception. She confessed that yes, she had indeed spread those hurtful lies about me trapping Archie into marriage. According to her twisted logic, Archie was too good for me, and the shotgun wedding was the only way I could ever hope to settle him down. It felt like the wind had been knocked out of me, the weight of her betrayal pressing down on me like a ton of bricks. How could she say such hurtful things about her own daughter? Didn't she realize the pain and anguish her words had caused? After confronting my mother, it was clear that she wasn't sorry for what she'd done. She didn't seem to grasp the gravity of her betrayal. It was like a slap in the face to realize that the woman who was supposed to love and support me unconditionally could be so callous with my feelings. At that moment, I knew I had to draw the line. This was the last straw. Sure, we were never super close, but she was still my mother, and she had shattered my trust in the worst possible way. I told her point blank that I was done with her lies, done with her deceit, and done with the toxic cycle of hurt and betrayal. I made it crystal clear that I was cutting her off and that she would never get the chance to poison my life or my children's lives with her toxicity. It was a tough decision, but one I knew was necessary for my own sanity and well being. Of course, she didn't take it well. She shouted, hurled insults, and called me an entitled brat, among other things. But I didn't stick around to listen to her tirade. I had said my piece, and now it was time to move on. When I got home, the floodgates opened. I collapsed into Archie's arms, the weight of the day crashing down on me all at once. I cried until there were no tears left, letting his comforting embrace wash away the pain and anguish. Just when I thought I might start to move on from the chaos, my cousin called. They didn't hold back, telling me straight up that I might have been too harsh and that cutting my mother off from her grandchildren might be a step too far. This made me question whether I had been too hasty in my decision. The next day, after everything that had happened, Ada showed up at our place with some food. I was taken aback. Given the events, I wasn't sure what to expect from her, but there she was, standing on our doorstep, looking contrite and apologetic. She wasted no time getting to the point, offering a heartfelt apology for her role in the whole mess. She admitted she shouldn't have trusted my mother's word so easily, and that she could have avoided a lot of trouble if she had seen through the lies from the start. I appreciated her honesty. It takes guts to own up to your mistakes, and I could see she genuinely regretted her actions. It was a relief to know she finally understood the gravity of the situation. I thanked her for her apology and let her know that while I was glad there was no more confusion, it would take time for me to fully process everything that had happened. Trust isn't something that can be rebuilt overnight. With my mother, there isn't much to say. Growing up, she always provided the basics: a roof over my head, food on the table, and all that. But when it came to emotional support, well, she wasn't exactly mother of the year material. You could say I had one of those good enough moms, the type who does the bare minimum to keep their kids alive, but doesn't go above and beyond in love and nurturing. Don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for everything she's done for me, but there's always been a nagging sense of emptiness, a feeling that something crucial was missing from our relationship. Maybe I was too young to see it, too caught up in my own world to notice the cracks in our family dynamic. Or maybe I just didn't want to admit that my mom wasn't the picture perfect parent I had hoped for. Looking back, it's easy to see the signs: the missed birthdays, the lack of affection, the constant feeling of being misunderstood and unloved. At the time, I probably brushed it off as normal, rationalizing away her shortcomings because the alternative was too painful to confront. So, there wasn't anything specifically traumatizing about my relationship with my mother. It was more like a slow drip of disappointment, a gradual realization that the person who was supposed to love me unconditionally couldn't quite meet my expectations. But I refused to let my past define me or dictate my future. I'm more than just the sum of my experiences. I'm a survivor and a fighter. Update 2. Hi, everyone. It's been a few weeks since my last update, and I have a big update for you. So, remember how I mentioned the tension between Ada and my mom? Well, it sparked a full blown showdown. Over the years, Ada and my mom had developed a strange friendship, bonding over shared interests or something. As a result, Ada took my mom's words about me at face value because of their connection. A few days ago, Ada decided she'd had enough of the lies and deception. She marched right up to my mom outside the church. Yes, outside the church, and gave her a piece of her mind. From what I heard, it was like a scene out of a soap opera: yelling, finger pointing, and maybe a few choice words thrown in for good measure. Needless to say, it caused quite a stir, and pretty much everyone in our circle found out about it. You'd think my mom would be mortified, especially getting called out like that in public. But knowing her, she probably just brushed it off. As for Ada, she felt a huge sense of relief after finally standing up for me and setting the record straight.
It was like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. My mom didn't contact me after our confrontation, but she started calling me non-stop after Ada's public humiliation of her. My phone was blowing up with voicemails from her, all blaming me for her newfound misery. She went on about how I was ruining her life and how none of her precious church friends would even look her way anymore. But not once did she offer me an apology. Normally, I might have caved and called her back. trying to smooth things over as the dutiful daughter. I was ready to cut ties with my mom for good, determined not to stoop to her level or engage in her toxic games any longer. I was prepared to accept that I might never have the mother daughter relationship I had always hoped for. But sometimes you have to put your own mental health first, even if it means severing family ties. Update 3. Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last update, and a lot has happened since then. Just when I thought I was done with my mom's lies and manipulation, she began showing signs of dementia. It hit me hard. I was ready to walk away, but suddenly I was faced with this heartbreaking reality. As her only daughter, I couldn't turn my back on her, no matter how much she had hurt me. It was painful seeing her confused and frightened, not even recognizing me. The woman I once knew seemed to be slipping away before my eyes. For now, my cousin has stepped in to help, providing care while we assess her condition. If it worsens, we may need to consider a nursing home for full-time care. As I face this new chapter in my mom's life, I feel a mix of emotions. Sadness, yes, but also a glimmer of hope. Hope that she will receive the care and support she needs, and that she may find some comfort and peace in her final days. To everyone who's been following my journey, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you. Your kind words, support, and encouragement have meant more to me than you could possibly know. As we enter this new chapter, I'm hopeful it will bring healing and closure for me, my mom, and our entire family. Here's to hoping for the best.